Halloween
forever.
Meow, ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, a Halloween is Forever podcast. We've got another Minisode for you. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
And if you couldn't tell from that fantastic introduction,
I feel so hyped right now.
So relevant to the subject matter. I couldn't be more hyped. If you didn't get an opportunity to listen to the last episode, which was our main episode number 2 that came out last week, go back and listen to that sumbitch. If you didn't, you're fucking up, because it was a fantastic episode. We talked about religious horror, and spoiler alert, your boy took home the belt. In a big way. In a big way. We talked about with just a classic of the genre with Exorcist 3. But yeah, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. It was super fun. We talked our asses off for like 3 hours.
Oh my god.
It was a lot. It was super fun though. We talked about Exorcist 3. We talked about Ben Wheatley's A Field in England, and then we talked about
the movie that everyone shit on.
Darren Big Dick Aronofsky. Mother! Exclamation point. If you haven't seen it, Meg was super mad that we didn't like it. No.
I'm just a sore loser, guys.
Listen, do you remember Camp Slashers episode number 1? You guys kicked me in the dick right out of the gates. You were like, fuck you, move on. Like, talk for half an hour, fuck your movie, you suck. So yes, I came back with a vengeance, brought home the belt, and again, I have to go back and listen because I don't remember, but I think I recall you guys just not only handing me the belt graciously, but also explaining how you were ashamed of your own picks. I don't remember in detail, but I really just destroyed. It was like
excuse me.
92 Ric Flair at the Rumble. I just hung on the whole way.
I am coming for blood.
So if you haven't listened to any of the other episodes yet, the way we do it is in the main episode, whoever's film reigns supreme, whoever takes home the belt gets to pick the movie that the other two have to watch on the next minisode. And in case that clever, hyped up Jock Jams introduction didn't do it for you, the movie we're going to be talking about is 1987's Uninvited, which
I think collectively we all hate you. I think I can speak. Steve way more.
Steve, Steve, you had seen like half of it, you said, but you didn't finish it when you watched it the first time.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because we got a little other business, but
we got some housekeeping. Yeah.
I just want to say that right off the bat, I am officially recalling this a John McAfee adventure.
And it was. That's a great way of putting it.
I'll get into it more when we talk about it, but yeah, man, this movie sucks and I'm very mad at it.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Megan, this is a first time watch for you, was it?
It was indeed.
Yes.
We were all texting as we were watching it, and I was just like, yeah,
I was getting the exact text I wanted from you guys, which is like, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you. That's exactly what. And you know what? I didn't go as hard as I could have. There was a couple other ones on there that could have been way, way worse. And I'm holding those in my back pocket for the future because I'm poised to go on a streak, boys and girls. In any case, before we get into that, like Steve said, we do have a few housekeeping items here that are kind of exciting. One, we should probably talk about, anybody have a beer in front of them, a beverage that they want to talk about? That's usually something we chat about beforehand. What do you got?
Yes. From Saucy Brew Works, the Habitual Ale.
Those are Cleveland guys, right?
Yes. Cold Style Ale, 5% on the ABV. Clean drinking, nice and clear. It's good beer.
Yeah, Kolschy boys are maybe the official style of the Halloween is Forever podcast.
Yeah, I think if we do get an official beer, it will be a Kolsch.
I mean, that's why I picked it up.
Yeah. Once we do that inevitable collabo, we will. It has to be a Kolsch, right?
Absolutely.
Meg, what do you got?
I went with one from the vault here. It's not really a vault at all. I'm going with Von Ebert's Dortmunder style export lager.
Oh, I love a Dort. I love a Dort.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I have one in the on the way called Dive Bar from Grains of Wrath as well. So I assume I'll get to it on this episode. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just had we're going crispy boy heavy here tonight. I just finished me a Trogs Sunshine Pils, which is a perennial favorite of mine, and I just love that beer. And I need to find myself a spot that's going to sell me a 6 or 12 pack of those, because I had it from a variety pack that I had over the 4th of July holiday with people at my house, and I hid all the Sunshine Pils. You guys drink all the rest of it. Drink the raspberry sour. Drink the perennial ale. I'm keeping all the pills for myself.
I mean, shout out to Trogs. It's seriously one of my favorite PA breweries to visit.
The food's great.
Yeah,
the tap room is sick.
Yeah.
And they always have so much cool stuff on tap there that you can't get anywhere else, like tap room only kind of beers. It's awesome.
I am kind of sad to see them probably go back to how they did do like the service before, because in December, literally right before the last shutdown, it was around my birthday, and I was like, I need to go to this museum that's out east. I wanted to see this like artist I really wanted to check out, and it was only like an hour detour to go to Trogs, but they were actually doing table service, and I was like, oh my god,
because normally it's just you walk up the bar and you have like a little buzzer to get your food and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
And it's very like vulture-y, like people are like scoping out tables, or like, whoa, are you ready? Grab the table right now.
Yeah, because there's always like a giant wait.
Oh yeah, it's insane, but it's such a cool vibe there, and I enjoy going and seeing the space a lot.
Yeah, I wish they had a Hellas in their variety pack last year. I think they might have had it again this year, and the name's going to escape me. It was kind of a just like forgettable name, frankly, not to crap on the people doing the marketing at Trogs, but it was kind of an innocuous kind of name. But the Hellas was just killer. And I was like, man, I would crush this if they put this in a suitcase or something, but they're not gonna. But it's they always kill it. Love those guys. Troganator forever and ever.
I got some Nimble Giant in the fridge.
Oh, that's such a killer beer.
Nice.
It's such like you can find that beer anywhere, and it's fresh, and it's like so much better than things that are 900 times more hyped.
Right.
And it's just fantastic. All right, let's get off the beer. Let's get into the spooky ookies. Let's talk about. We had a little gathering, little mind meld beforehand, and we did the same thing we did last month for the religious horror episode, where we throw all of the topics that come from social media, from our listeners, via email, so email is halloweenisforeverpod@gmail.com. If you wanted to shoot us a line, say, hey, what's up? Or if you got some topics to suggest. On Instagram, we've got a big influx of new followers on both Twitter and Instagram, which is rad. We're at Halloween is Forever on Instagram and at Hallow Forever on Twitter. And a lot of people sent us a ton of really good suggestions, including some other really awesome podcasts that I listened to. We were just talking about the Carpenter Ants, gave us a suggestion, very predictable one, which was best Carpenter movie, which we're waiting for that one to come up. And hopefully as Halloween approaches, because that one's going to kill once we put it on the list, right? So we put all the all the suggestions on like a little spinny wheel app, and then we pop up 3, and then we put that out on the social medias. And then you, if you follow us on social media, can vote. So we'll do it on Instagram and Twitter, and I think you can do that on Facebook somehow. So we'll figure out how to do that. I don't use Facebook quite as much, but in any case, we came up with 3 choices. So excited to discuss them. And then this week, after this episode comes out, we'll throw that out there for a couple days, and we'll figure out what the next main episode or the first Monday in that first full week of August will be. So the first one that came up with was one of my suggestions, which probably not going to win because it requires too much explanation. But I called it The Game Show, which is a show about movies that horror movies. We're going to expand this a little bit into like horror sci-fi, because I think there's enough movies that touch a couple of these a couple of these subgenres, if you will, that probably are going to bleed a lot into sci-fi. So the game show would be any movies that have a game or a contest or perhaps a literal game show in them, if you want to. But anything has kind of a game or contest theme or subplot or something like that element in it. Number 2, I'm kind of excited about this one. Favorite sitcom Halloween episodes. So, my mind immediately goes to your Roseannes and your Family Matters and things like that. There's a lot of rad ones out there. But sitcom Halloween episodes. And then number 3, time travel. So again, very sci-fi, inherently very sci-fi-ish, but sci-fi horror, sci-fi and or horror time travel movies. So the game show, favorite sitcom Halloween episodes, and time travel. So when you see that pop up in the old social medias, give it a little pokey if you want to vote on which one you want to hear us flap our gums about. So cool. So before we jump into the movie, before we jump into the masterpiece that is Uninvited, I had a really interesting story that I wanted to share that I didn't tell either of you guys yet because I wanted to save it for the episode. But it was so serendipitous, so fun, really cool, but also like ties so directly into our show that it almost sounds made up. But I promise you, this is 100% what happened. So I went out. We talked about last episode, two episodes ago, we talked about how they had over the 4th of July weekend, we had the Living Dead weekend out in Monroeville this year it was at the Monroeville Mall, which is of course the setting for 1978's Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead was filmed there. They had like location tours. They had a bunch of like panels and all types of cool stuff. It's a really great festival. The theme this year was Living Dead Weekend 1985 because Day of the Dead and Return of the Living Dead, both 2 of my favorite movies. I know Steve shares that same sentiment too. They both came out in 85. So they kind of celebrated those 2 movies. So it was really cool. I was going to go out and then I was like, I couldn't because I had to be somewhere else a little bit earlier than I anticipated. So I wasn't planning on going, but then I had a little free time. I was like, you know what? It starts at 3:00. I'm going to get there at like 1:30 and see if they at least have like the vendor booths up so I can like, buy some merch, walk around, that sort of thing before I had to be somewhere which was already in Monroeville. So anyway, I get there. First of all, cool thing right off the bat that happened, a testament to how rad just horror people are in general. I went up to buy just a day pass, the wristband to get into all the vendor halls and exhibitor halls and stuff. And I walked up and these 2 people were like, hey, are you going to go buy a wristband? I was like, yeah. They were like, here, our friend didn't show up. You want this one? And I was like, can I like pay you for it? Or no, here, he just didn't show up. So it was like, I think it was like $20 or $25. It was super nice of him. So that started me. So I was in a good mood. I was bouncing in there, walking around, looking at all the vendors and just spending way too much money immediately. So I'm walking by all these booths. And I'd been there for maybe like a half an hour. I walked by one of these tables and not all the tables were set up. Especially some of the like autograph signing tables and stuff with cast members from the movies weren't there yet because it wasn't supposed to open for like another hour. And there was one table that was kind of bare still. And I walked by and there was this guy standing there, kind of, made eye contact. Hey, how you doing? Everyone's kind of excited because this is a lot of people's first con back and stuff too after the pandemic. So everybody's super talkative. And this guy starts talking. You could kind of tell he was dressed like a director. I don't know how else to explain it, but he had like the like button down with the pockets rolled up, sleeves kind of thing. I'm like, who is this guy? He looks super familiar, but I'm not sure. And I kind of get to chatting to him. All of a sudden, Greg Nicotero walks up, says hi to him, and he was like kind of interrupted us talking. So he's like, "Hey, I'm Greg." I was like, "Oh yeah." And I almost did the "You're Greg Nicotero" thing, but I didn't. So
I know who you are.
Yeah. So I was like, "Hey, I'm Brian." He was like, "Hey, I'm Greg." So that right away, I'm a little like starstruck there. And this guy, we continue to talk and stuff, and I'm like, I know who this guy is, and he's kind of following me behind the row of tables the other way. We're just kind of walking in the same direction. He gets to his table. He's like, "Are you a fan of the Creep Show, movies?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I am. Who is it?" He was like, "I directed Creep Show 2." Oh. And I was like, it was Michael Gornick. Oh. Was just, sitting there chatting with him. So I start talking to him and, how much, love the film. He was a cinematographer on Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Creep Show, and then he directed Creep Show 2. And I was like, that's so awesome. And he was like, here, and he pulled out this big book that he was just setting up his table. This big book of original art prints and sketches from the animated intro to Creepshow 2.
Oh, okay.
With the creep and the kid with the bundle of the magazine, or the comics and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is incredible. He's like, yeah, you can look through them. He's like, they're for sale, but don't feel like you have to. You can just look through them if you want. I was like, oh, this is incredible. So there was one that was like a hand sketch of the kid, like on the cover of the thing. And I was like, all right, I need to take this home with me if these are for sale, and he was like, actually the guy across the way already kind of claimed that one. He's like, so he's like, but I can ask him, maybe he changed his mind. I was like, no, I'll find another one. He was like, well, you could, so he gave me a good deal on that other. So I ended up buying an original art print from that animated section at the beginning with the kid like opening up the bundles of the Creepshow comics. So I'll post on social media, but it's super cool. But anyway,
That's awesome.
this is already cool, but this is not how it ties into the episodes. I'm getting off on quite a tangent. Anyway, I'm looking at the table, and he has a picture of autographed photo of Lincoln Maisel.
Oh, no shit.
Who was
awesome.
the star of the amusement park, the George Romero, film that we talked about in a previous minisode. And I was like, oh wow, this is from, I said, a couple friends and I have a horror podcast, just like every person here. And we just did an episode on this. He's like, oh, how did you like it? And I was like, oh, it's great. He was like, I was in that. I was like, oh, wow. Who did you play? He points to a picture that he had on the table of him. He was the guy who Eric Andre'd the bench.
No shit.
He was literally the kid who dove through the bench that we made the thing about. So I was like, and I almost wanted to tell him. I was like, first of all, this guy's like probably in his 70s. I don't know. He probably doesn't know where Eric Andre is. I don't know. I don't want to pigeonhole the guy, but I almost told him about it. I was like, no, sorry. But I was dying that he was the kid who ran out and threw himself through the bench.
Oh wow,
that's so fucking wild.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so super fun. I can't wait to. I wish I could have stayed for more like the panels and stuff, but like I said, I had to get the hell out of there. But super fun and glad to be back among real life horror nerds. But well, cool. Let's jump into this movie, guys. I know you're real excited to get into it.
I just want to read off one of my favorite IMDb review titles.
Yeah.
That this movie belongs buried in the litter box.
Hold on, can I do the IMDb synopsis first so people know the thing?
Yeah.
So this is great. It's not even really consistent with the movie. This movie, like I said, called Uninvited, 1987. A cat infected with a genetically engineered virus, which is not the case in the movie. They just talk about how it's like had some like genetic experiments done on it, and it talks about like a toxic chemical, but it doesn't come right out and say engineered virus unless I missed that. Anyway, cat infected with genetically engineered virus escapes from a lab and goes on a killing spree, finding its way on board a shady businessman's yacht loaded with young guests. You've seen killer mutant cat movies before, sure, but have you seen one on a boat? The answer is nah, dog. You haven't, and that's why this is fucking brilliant. All right, so go ahead. I want to hear this review.
Oh, you want me to read it off? That's fine. Yeah, there were a couple really good ones. So it goes, a group of scientists accidentally let a cute, cuddly cat escape from their lab. What's so scary about the cute feline that one could possibly see on LOL Cats? Well, this cat has a smaller bladder mutant cat living inside its mouth that comes out to kill people, and sometimes grows to be the size of a biggish dog. He wrote biggish. Like
biggish is great. Yeah, it's so confusing. The size of the cat changes dramatically multiple times.
It does.
This movie makes here's why this movie, I think, because Steve, you brought this up when we were texting when you guys were watching it. I think most people kind of like, Manos, the Hands of Fate, or like Santa Claus Conquers the Martians or something. I think most people who have seen this movie have probably seen the Riff Tracks version of it, which I forgot. I haven't seen it, but I do want to watch it. But like, yeah, people have seen this movie in riff tracks, which are the MST3K, some of the MST3K people who do like, the riffing jokes over movies type of thing, if you're not familiar. A lot of people have probably have seen it through that lens before, and it's ripe for that, for sure. But like the poster and certainly the title give nothing away. I mean, yeah, it says there's a killer cat, and some of the posters, if you look close, there is a little cat inside the cat's mouth, but it's not super obvious. It's certainly not at the forefront. And the title couldn't be more innocuous.
Right.
Right.
Like, yes, of course a mutant cat is not invited. Yes, no one invites a mutant cat. But it was, it doesn't really tell you anything. If you didn't know anything about this movie, you weren't looking for it, and you were scrolling through like Tubi or some shit, because that's where I watched. It's free on Tubi. You wouldn't know that this was a batshit movie. That's why I think this is a John McAfee adventure, as I said at the top. R.I.P. John McAfee. But it's also possible John McAfee made this movie because the title would reference the uninvited are just the cockblock dudes that get on the boat. They're uninvited. Yes. They are also uninvited. It's funny because it's not too far off from what you're saying. The guy who wrote and directed this movie is a guy named Graydon Clark, and he didn't do anything except for he started out as an actor, then he directed some movies, but it was just all like super low budget, like just absolute bottom of the barrel 80s schlock. That's his whole career. But he started out working with Al Adamson. So if you know Al Adamson, yes, this is like schlock royalty. Like this guy was one of the all-time like kings of just absolute shitbag schlock cinema for decades. And I was actually coincidentally just listening to the guys in Neon Brainiacs were doing their 200th episode, and they talked about the documentary, which I haven't seen yet, that is on, I think on Shudder, or it was on Shudder, but I'll have to find it. There's a documentary about Al Adamson. He was this like I said, super low budget schlocky horror movie director who ended up being like the victim of a grisly murder. So it was like this true crime thing. But I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's called Blood and Flesh, the real life and ghastly death of Al Adamson.
Yes. It's been kind of on my watch list for a while. I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, if you know where this Graydon Clark's pedigree is from, it's certainly not surprising. This is the type of fucking movie that he makes. But long story short, cautionary tale about what happens when you do science to a cat. Don't do science to cats. Right. Cats don't like science. No. Cats like balls and socks. They don't like science. Meg, you texted while we were watching this, or while you were watching this, you were like, this is what happens when guys realize how hard it is to catch a cat.
yes.
That's dead on.
I was like, man, I know when my cat has gone out, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, that thing just goes, and you can't catch the cat.
You know what's a good way to try, though?
Good idea.
Close the door of the science lab. Like that's a good start, right?
I want to like backtrack slightly before like my other thought was or like when the cat was like getting out, that they were all in these like radioactive suits, but it was the most normal cat carrier that I've ever seen. I was like,
no lead lining,
yeah.
There were no hazmat sticker, no nothing. Just regular cat carrier. Yeah. And let's be honest, that was just a doctor's office or something, that they were in there. So yeah, it starts off and it's the other thing I thought about when you were talking about this is just when guys realize it's hard to catch a cat. I was thinking to myself the first time I watched this movie, which wasn't that long ago. I've probably only watched it for the first time, like maybe 3 years ago. And I thought to myself, this is 100%. And I have 100 ideas in my phone for movies that I thought up when I was super stoned laying in bed. And I can absolutely see myself laying there like baked, getting ready to fall asleep and bringing up my notes in my phone and writing Russian nesting cats. Like I could absolutely see myself doing that.
What if the cat inside of
You're
the cat
going to do that
evil?
tonight, I'm sure.
What if it's a cat inside a cat? I'm like got Snickers bar all in my beard. I'm just
so not to be too insulting to you, Brian, but at the beginning of this movie,
Please do.
I know what
Please
you're
be
gonna
as
say,
insulting
Steve. I
as
know what you're gonna
possible.
say. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Yes.
The tight in the credits.
No, well, not necessarily in the credits, but in the
Okay,
opening
okay.
sequence with the doctors that are chasing the cat around.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were gonna say something else. Go
No,
ahead.
no, the doctors that are chasing the cat around, who I have listed as Doctor with a Gun. Yeah, actually, he looks like he might be related.
Which one? The older one or wait, Paul or Dr. Gray?
I don't know name. I have Doctor with a
Dr.
Gun.
Gray was the guy who was like goes to the cop. He's like, "Give me your goddamn gun."
It's probably him. Yeah. It's Dr. Gray.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I could see that. I could see that.
He might be like a distant uncle, but yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because Dr. Gray was kind of holding him because they were obviously going to inject some sort of like, I don't know, science into him, and he's like, one of my favorite quotes happens right off the bat because apparently dealing with this like it's not radioactive, it's genetically mutated, at least in some capacity, cat, and they're discussing bringing it in because it has some growth in it or whatever, and they go to give it a shot, and he's holding it very loosely, and the door's hanging wide open. And then he just yells, "Paul, get the cat!" and the cat just like jogs down the hallway. But it's really funny how like incredibly poor security is. But then they're like, "Code red, code red." It's like code red is we forgot to close like the office door.
Right.
You know, it's not like they really had any, particularly stringent security protocol in place there. But so the cat runs out. We quickly learn, and this is a theme for the rest of the movie, that this is the Krang of cats. I mean, that's really the only way we could put it. It's a cat inside of a cat, a smaller cat living inside of a larger cat. The cat on the outside looks like a regular kind of puffy orangish cat, but then on the inside is what I can only describe is if a cat and a munchie were crossbred. Yeah. If you've seen the movie Munchies, but they're very close. It is borderline a munchie inside of it that comes out of its mouth. And every time it comes out of its mouth, the puppet cat is 5 times the size of the real cat. It's fantastic. But I love that. It just really... I wish this this is the Krang of cats. That's the only way I can kind of imagine.
I feel like it's actually like just like this personification of cats, because if anyone owns a cat, they know they're very sadistic and they will just fuck you up at any given moment.
Yeah, they will bite your neck, your hands, your feet. They will just maul you at any turn. But the switch to the cat puppets, like one scene it's the cat and then the next is the cat puppet, is just it's just magic every single time, and I never get sick of it. In any case, the whole scene where the cat's running through the parking garage and the scientists just completely take over the cops. They're like, "Give us your guns, fuck off. Like, just get out of the way." It's so bizarre. And it is, honestly, I was thinking about it this time I was watching. It is like a step and a half from a Monty Python sketch. Like, it is really that close. It reminds me of, like the killer rabbit in Monty Python and the Holy Grail or something like that. But the cat obviously escapes. We're introduced to, 2 of the stars, which are Bobby and Suzanne, they're just screaming at each other outside of this hotel, basically, this fancy hotel. They run into inside this guy who's another one of the main characters, and by far my favorite character in the movie.
John McAfee.
Yeah, his name's Walter Graham, Steve. Get it right. And he is just an absolute scumbag from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like I wrote down in my notes, this guy is definitely trustworthy, no ulterior motives, and you can tell from how much he licks his lips.
I also have him listed as not Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh, he's trying to lean into that suave kind of debonair kind of mentality a little bit. And it's honestly like, you quickly realize through these conversations between the 2 women who come to know him, and then so these are all like co-eds. They're in Fort Lauderdale for spring break. They run into this group of 3 guys. They kind of befriend them at a restaurant, and they immediately start telling them about they ran into Walter Graham, the billionaire stockbroker, maverick of Wall Street kind of guy. And when they get out of the the limo with his like business associate, which his name is Mike, which that actor, I didn't write down his name, but he's been in a million things. Like you've seen him in so much stuff.
Yeah, it's Naked Gun. It's
yeah. He's you'll immediately recognize him. They get out of this limo, and the way Walter's dressed, I was like, he looks less like a Wall Street billionaire and more like a guy who owns a local Florida chain of gator farms. Like, he's just like, he wants you to think he's super rich, and he's just an absolute scumbag. But anyway, so he's having dinner with the girls. Mike comes in, kind of snatches them up, explains they have to go to this like business meeting. They go on the boat, and you kind of see Walter's true colors. He's kind of given this guy the 007 villain routine, explaining to him that he's going to kill him basically so he doesn't get the opportunity to blackmail him. And maybe my second favorite character in the whole film we meet here, which is Walter's kind of henchman, if you will, Albert.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't think I really got his...
He is obnoxious.
Oh, there's so many bold choices. I love it. So many
he has two old men in George Kennedy as Mike, as one of his henchmen.
So first of all, he's at least enormous.
Yeah, well,
he's a big dude.
He's at least big and intimidating. Yeah. But then he also has Gulager as Albert, is also just kind of another old man, and he's kind of enfeebled, and then just what... I would not be afraid of either of those guys that much.
You could honestly walk quickly away from either of them and they'd never catch you.
It's like, all right, bye.
But they're both like character actors you would know from a million things. You know what I mean? But the thing I love about Albert is the really bold character choices between like the clearly like prosthetic, like the dentures that he has. I don't get that. The crazy accent.
And he's always pulling his like front lip up too, so you can see them.
He's really proud of these dentures. He also has this kind of side plot. I don't know if there was something that got cut out where he clearly has, I don't know, a heart condition maybe. I don't know, but he's always like getting overwhelmed and like grasping his chest and breathing heavy and stuff. And it's like, it never comes into play. I
think it's just a character choice he might have made as an actor.
That's what I'm saying. I love how just bold these bizarre character choices are. It's a silly movie. Anything goes. But he's a fairly inconsequential character. But after he murders like this guy, he drowns them in the hot tub. First of all, you're in the ocean. Right. Just throw him overside. Why you gotta do that? Get DNA all over your hot tub. It's a poor choice. But in any case, so this is happening simultaneously, and the mutant cat that's escaped is kind of like Pee-wee's big adventuring across the country and ends up in the bed of this pickup truck. And then you have maybe the most infamous scene, or one of the most infamous scenes in the movie, where what can only be described, blatantly, as a guy sitting in the bed of a pickup truck with a cat puppet on his arm punching through the back of the glass, and you can clearly see the puppeteer's arm, like very clearly if you freeze it, and that's just an absolute phenomenal shot. It munches on the driver's neck. The truck, this is like their whole budget, as this like $80 truck smashes down the hill, and then the Doogie Howser theme plays, which that music
I have listed Who's the Boss or Perfect Strangers have possible lawsuits against this movie.
So I was trying to pinpoint, honestly, for an hour what this one reminded me of. Go listen to the Doogie Howser theme. That little keyboard part reminds me so much of it. It's so bizarre. But anyway, so then you're cut to Fort Lauderdale. You get to know kind of the co-ed cast here. They kind of act like they know each other for years, which is really, really bizarre. So they basically talk these guys to come in on the boat with them to kind of protect them from Walter or whatever. But they kind of get to the dock where they're going to meet Walter on his yacht, and that's when the cat kind of intersects with their storyline. It's just in a supply chest of sorts, just hanging out. And you can tell this cat absolutely hates being picked up. Like it is pushing her, it is just furiously trying to get out of the one girl's arms. It's so mad. But you know what? The cat is still like the third best actor in the movie.
True. Better than the boat captain.
Oh my God. She is by far the worst.
I just think she's a real boat captain because she's not an actor.
She just happened. They walked onto this boat and they were like, $50, you play this character. You have 15 minutes to memorize the lines.
Take us out to sea.
She gives one of the all-time worst performances I've ever experienced, but it's so fun. I do love, and I wrote this down, Walter is willing to drown a man over knowing too much, but he brings 5 teenagers and a cat on just like willingly. Like, yeah, come on the boat. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna party.
See, they have this constant ticking clock of like the SCC is after him.
Right.
But like you never see agents or anything to make it feel like it has that urgency of he needs to escape.
You literally could have had 3 guys in suits on the dock as they pulled away. Exactly. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
The problem
have to be part of the movie. They could have just been 3 guys that were
stock
there.
Footage.
Just happened to be there.
This is the thing. I think they couldn't afford to pull the boat away from the dock. I think that's why they couldn't have that scene be a reality. But yeah, so one of Walter's best lines in the movie comes up here when he's meeting the captain. She's a young, probably approximately the co-ed's age, maybe a little bit older. And apparently Walter knew her father, and that's how he got in touch. He got a hold of this boat because it was his boat, whatever. But Walter's line is, "Okay, so I got a little drunk and mouthed off to the crew. I apologize." I just love the way his inflections, like the decisions he makes. I think he even goes like, "But it's my boat." Like the decisions he makes on these lines. He's trying to do so much with so little, and I just applaud him for it.
He tried.
I just feel like this is like another, like, obviously right after that moment, like all of the co-eds are just like, yeah, we'll run the boat. We've got this. Like, this is what we do.
We're boat people now.
We're boat people. I just found that so funny.
Oh, it was so good. And then we quickly establish, the cat somehow gets scared. Something dumb Albert does, damages the boat. We establish that Mike hates punks. He's very clear about his stance on punks. Walter's pep talk to Mike as well. I didn't write down the line, but he's like, "We're gonna be so rich." He's like punching him and playing, and he's just like, his personality is all over the place, which is fantastic. Then things get kind of horny in the kitchen. I wrote that down. And the line with the 2 girls where they simultaneously say, "It's so hot." That was like, why did they plan that? They choreographed that little line when they're down in the galley. But so Albert is drunk at the helm. One of my favorite Albert moment is when after he drinks the bottle of wine, he's by himself. He's like singing a little song. I think he's singing like Battle Hymn of the Republic or some shit. And then he does this little like hand raise and just proclaims Albert.
Yeah.
I feel like
that was my favorite.
I love it. I can watch it 100 times. That
whole scene was also one I noted as one of my favorites because, like, when the captain comes back in and she's like, "Oh, you took us off course," blah blah blah. He runs back and he like almost shuts everything down, but then just starts pushing all these buttons. I was like, what the fuck?
Albert's a full steam ahead type of guy, Megan. You don't understand him. He's misunderstood. Oh God, I love Albert so much. I'm going to be Albert for Halloween. I just learned I'm Albert for Halloween this year. I've committed to it.
Heard here first.
So they're partying below decks. Walter and the kids and all this stuff. Walter is apparently getting drunk on bananas. I don't know if you noticed that, but you never see him drink anything. But he's just eating a banana for a half hour, but he's hammered. And these people they're just collectively horrible dancers, which I loved watching their dancing escapades were so fun. But anyway, so Albert has his first run-in with the cat. right? And Albert has a wine bottle, and instead of running away, decides to just Happy Gilmore it and break the wine bottle and try to fight the cat, which was obviously unwise. So he gets bit. You see this kind of like a theme in the rest of the movie, which are these barely functional bladder effects that are in every single attack scene. Walter sprays blood everywhere. He ends up going overboard, and so Walter is no more. I think Mike refers to him the next day when they're trying to talk the captain out of not looking for him. They're like, yeah, well, he's shark bait. That's just how he describes Walter, which I thought was a great one.
Albert.
Yeah, Albert. Yeah. But so here's where shit really escalates, and then it's just a mad scramble to the end of the movie. Walter goes from silly, suggestive creep to full-on rapist, like literally immediately. Just starts assaulting Bobby.
The old John McAfee special.
Yeah, just absolutely assaulting Bobby, I think her name is. And then the stupid hat kid that they mentioned is like a wrestler or something like that, comes running in, throws the bottle. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Smashes a bottle off the wall, I guess for intimidation purposes. Slugs Walter. Mike comes in bloodthirsty. Wyatt Earp just starts blasting, just starts shooting, shoots the one kid in the arm, and then decides he's just going to execute him for punching Walter. Like he's just decided he's going to execute him point blank range. And then the pretty hair kid runs in. I think his name's Corey. Knocks the gun out of Mike's hand, and Mike delivers just the biggest, slowest Andre the Giant punch to the kid's gut ever, but just devastating effects. Like the kid's just like eyes go crossed, and he falls to his knees.
This is the 80s, remember, before white people could fight.
I mean, he brought this haymaker to the gut from freaking just 3 blocks away into his gut. But yeah, then Mike gets bit. His foot just gets mauled under from the cat who's kind of hiding under the chair. And I wrote moral of the story here: don't wear bowling shoes when there's a mutant cat lurking around. That's just common sense, Mike, and you deserved it. So eventually, Walter kind of goes nuts, gets a gun. They want to get to the Cayman Islands. This is like the reason they left is because, like Steve said, the SEC's after them, so they got to go to the Cayman Islands to like unload their secret offshore bank accounts or whatever. And things kind of go wild. Walter threatens to kill one of the girls if they don't get the boat fixed and get to the Cayman Islands. They get the gun from Walter. I don't remember how they get the gun from Walter, but they do. They spray him with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, that was
another classic WWF special.
Yeah, you either hit him with the belt, blow salt in his eyes, or hit him with a fire extinguisher, spray him with the fire extinguisher. But yeah, so at this point, everything's going crazy. Mike is riding the struggle bus really hard. He's got like the bladder effects in full effect. We think at this point, I was expecting a like chest buster alien ripoff scene, and I wonder if it was planned and they couldn't get it to work, or the bladder effects kind of failed, because his death is really anticlimactic after all this buildup. But at this point, the attempted rape and murder by Walter is just water under the bridge, apparently, because they're just moving on from that. And one of the best lines in the movie, the nerdy friend says, "As far as I can tell, the cat that bit him is highly poisonous," which is pretty fantastic. So Mike dies.
Which is incorrect. It's venomous.
Venomous.
Do you know
what
I think
could have... biologist.
You know what I think could have been like made this movie just slightly better is because I feel like every time the cat bites someone, there's like this thing protruding from everyone's neck. All I wanted the entire time was like another little cat. I wanted them to now have a cat coming. Yeah, I wanted that the whole time.
Or what if it was like in Gremlins and they all popped out like a little litter? And then it was like little balls that popped out.
And then they just start going looking for cats.
And then they start suckling the blood out of the person. And you could go in a lot of fantastic directions.
And it's a boat full of cats by the time it winds up in the Caymans.
It shows up at the Caymans, and there's just 1,000 cats. And they have little captain's hats on.
Right.
Yeah, spy
they
glasses.
Have jobs.
Yeah, the original orange cat's just Gizmo, and it's so cute and cuddly, and you're still like, oh, yeah, let's come play.
Yeah, I think the effects restrictions here obviously become, because you were expecting, I was expecting a cat to pop out of Mike, or like an alien or something.
One cat on this movie, guys. We can only afford one cat.
Yeah.
Apparently, they can also only afford one clip of a cat noise because they play the same fucking one over and over. That is the one thing I hated about this movie more. If there's any student filmmakers or potential filmmakers out there listening, do not use the same clip over and over again, especially if the cat's on screen. We can see the cat. We don't need cat noise.
It's highly noticeable. It's highly noticeable.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
There was a
so
couple
much.
scenes where I was just like, I am officially annoyed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was obnoxious at times. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, and we'll shoot to the end here in a second because I think we got the gist of this up to the end. But the one of the things I love is just the inconsistency in tone and behavior of everyone, where they go from terrified to horny to not actually boning. They just like get real horny and then just lay on each other and have pillow talk.
Yeah, no one bones.
Yeah,
again, I don't think it was in the budget for a bang. Like that was. You don't have a bang budget? Okay.
I will say though, for particularly Susan, she, as we move on, she kind of has like this breakdown, and like she definitely sucks. I don't like her by the end of the movie. Like you like her at the beginning of the movie because she's like
she's trying to hoard all the cornflakes.
Yeah, but then she makes all the worst decisions.
Yeah.
And then has like this mental breakdown and blames everyone else.
But then she's painting her toenails like no big deal. That's kind of what I was like, she's having an absolute breakdown. I guess she's going through all these like phases of acceptance or whatever. I don't know, but she's losing her mind and then painting her toenails. Like I don't understand it.
Filling the void, I guess. I don't know.
Disassociation.
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain connection is that I would have been that person who's like, a cat. I'm gonna adopt this cat right now. Let's take it on the boat. I would have been her.
Meg would have the one that got us killed.
Yeah, if there is a mutant cat. Yeah, if there's a mutant cat about, it's looking for Meg because it knows it's got an easy target.
In my heart.
Yeah. So Lance, this is my favorite scene of the movie. I know I've probably said that 3 times, but it is Bobby and Lance again starting to kind of get a little sexy, a little horny. Nothing happens, but as they're kind of almost getting there, Lance makes just an offhand comment about his arm being numb. And then she was like, oh, let me take a look. Pulls the blanket back. The cat has ate all his fingers off. And there's blood everywhere. So are we meant ridiculous to think that had been happening for a while? He didn't feel it?
Yeah.
The venom made it. Because that's not how the venom worked with anybody else.
No, it's not how it worked with anybody else. Everybody else freaked out and had a immediate reaction.
Yeah, Mike lost his fucking mind.
I feel like
Lance is getting sexy. Oh, my arm's a little tingly. Oh, my fingers are gone.
I honestly don't know why as the first thing I thought of when we mentioned this, but like the one Batman movie, is it Batman Forever, when Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, is introduced and she's just then being eaten by cats too. I'm just like, yeah, she didn't seem to care either. Maybe we just need to start letting cats fucking eat us.
Maybe it's not as bad as it sounds.
This is the future.
Yeah.
Cats are going to take over.
This is the future. This
They're
is the
evil.
This is the next QAnon theory. I say we spread it on Facebook right now. Yeah. Let
all
cats
over the
eat
social.
You. Let cats eat you. Let cats eat the chips that Bill Gates put in your blood.
Cats can find the chips.
I'll sell you a special chip-seeking cat that will get the nanobots out of your blood. Yes. Only 5 easy payments, $39.95. In any case, Suzanne finds her demise because the cat gets into the food supplies, and all of a sudden they're in a tough spot with the food. They're rationing out. They're each drinking like drops of champagne and 2 ounces of cornflakes at a time. She thinks everyone's lying to her. She goes to the to the pantry, and I thought this was going to be the big kill. This was going to be the cat bursting out something. Nope, just she eats contaminated food, and the cat watches her bleed out with weak bladder effects kind of thing. But I love there's kind of a storm a brewing at this point. Walter and the captain get into this fight, and ultimately we get these shots of the boat, which is just a model boat in like a poorly lit bathtub, like floating around. But there's kind of the storm coming. Walter starts cracking up. He wants to go in the lifeboat. Ultimately, they decide they're going to get in the lifeboat, kind of fast forwarding towards the end of the movie. And Walter decides he is going to run downstairs to get his suitcases of cash that he had. So they get in there. They're kind of waiting for it. The cat is guarding Walter's cash for some reason. It now becomes an aquatic Russian nesting cat, swims underwater, murders Walter. The nerd kid, I don't remember his name, being as kind-hearted as he is, goes down to try to save Walter, finds him dead, but grabs the suitcase, comes back up. They realize there's money in it. Once they get into the boat, they realize there's money in it. And 5 seconds ago, they were very nervous about getting stranded at sea. They couldn't get the boat to work. They were out of food, dire straits. Now they're in the lifeboat in a storm, but they have a suitcase of cash. So now the Doogie Howser movie plays and they're happy.
Yeah.
I don't understand why all of a sudden they were just like, oh no, this is going to be great. Because they were even like, this is enough money to buy a boat and do science, because that's his bag. I don't know. And they're like, why do you think this is going to be okay now? Of course it's not. Killer cat jumps in. They fight it. Rachel, who's the captain, by the way, punches it.
Yeah.
It flies out of the boat, lands in the water. The Doogie Howser music plays again.
Immediately.
They're like, oh, thank God we're safe. She punched the mutant cat. Oh, Christ, no, it's back.
That is such a quick turn. That is such a quick turn.
He's like, it's on the boat. You can clearly tell the actors are struggling to hear each other so bad because they're wet. They've obviously got these high-powered fans blowing on them. And this time he just throws it in the water and then decides it's not going to stop jumping back in the boat if they don't give it something to float on.
I do not understand this in any way, shape, or form.
There's nothing to understand.
Let that thing drown.
Yeah, because they were like, he says something like, it's not going to let us alone as long as we're the only thing floating in the water. So they decide they're going to throw the life. They threw the money, in the suitcase in there. The slightly better, of course, still absolute bonkers, batshit stupid ending would be throw the money in, you give up the money, and you do the thing that Walter couldn't do, which is let the money go,
right? And
you get to survive because you're not being a selfish prick. No, they open it, dump it into a conveniently placed bag that they had, then throw it in, and then the fantastic scene of the cat just like a doll. It just looks like a doll in the water staring at them as it's holding on to the briefcase floating out to sea.
But it seems so calm and like happy. I mean, not happy, but like...
It seems content,
yeah, it's like... Okay, cool. I'm good now. I just needed something to be on.
Appreciate the consideration. The entire time, guys, all of this could have been solved. Just a little consideration. But yeah, then the Doogie Howser music plays, like I said, as the puppet, completely still floating on the briefcase. And then they wake up and they got to the Cayman Islands. There's absolutely no explanation as to how, I assume the Cayman Islands. They didn't say.
Yeah.
But they got to where they were supposed to go. No explanation as to how that was the case. And then
the cops are cool with it.
Yeah, they're like, don't worry. Here's your cash. We'll take care of you. You need some R&R. Final scene. A seemingly unrelated cat is on a beach. A kid, it's not the same cat. It's a completely different color cat. It's not the cat at all. A kid picks it up and then they freeze, sting, zoom. Steve's got a picture of it. Freeze, zoom. And I'm like, are all cats bad now? No way of knowing. Is this a different mutant cat? Like, what are they trying to imply? It makes no fucking sense.
It's like you said, it's obvious.
So
just
cross-eyed.
like-
Why is everybody in this movie cross-eyed? We didn't talk about that.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Corey, the pretty haired kid, he's very cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Suzanne is somewhat cross-eyed.
I imagine
This
the
kid
guys
is
in the
cross-eyed.
trucks were.
Everyone got kicked by a mule and gone cross-eyed.
But to answer your question, Brian, yes, all cats are evil. I named my cat Meowsabub # kitten of Satan for that specific reason. I just wanted to make sure you got that answer.
Yeah. Okay, good. That makes more sense. I've never owned a cat. I like cats, okay, but now I am thankful to be informed that they are in fact all evil.
Yep.
But yeah, man, you guys, what I want to, I mean, you're welcome is really all I can think to tell you in this instance.
I'm going to swear here in a second. I'm going to say, fuck you, Brian.
I love the warning that you're going to swear. Brian, I'm about to swear. Fuck you.
I'm going to use some hot language.
It was a little bit for
Brian,
the
get
people
ready.
listening.
Get ready. Incoming swear. Fuck you. Fuck you.
It has moments.
Oh, it's so much
It has
fun.
moments, but like it just none of it goes far enough. Like all of the cat attacks are so like weak, and it's just like you don't even hardly know how it's killing people for the longest time. And the puppet effects aren't great. It's just like
aren't great is the nicest compliment this movie has ever gotten.
I feel like I've probably seen worse, but also these aren't great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like if it had like one more like kind of standout moment. There's little things, but it just needed something big, and also it has to be not annoying. That sound design is the worst fucking sound design I've heard in forever.
God, it's so charming and beautiful. It is absolute. Yes, it's an absolute piece of shit. And listen, the special effects. I'm here for the cat puppets, and I'm here for the zany performances. This is one of those movies that I like it because, and I am a fan. I know not everyone is. I'm a fan of really great horror movies and well-made movies, obviously, but I'm also a fan of schlocky bullshit movies. But they need to be earnest, and they can't be too tongue-in-cheek, and they can't be too self-aware for me. I mean, there are some, you think about, like we talked about, like The Greasy Strangler or something like that is just bizarre and out there and really, really weird, but in a fun way. I love this movie because they were trying so hard. I mean, they were trying as hard as they could with the budget that they had. My point is, like, it wasn't a, hey guys, we're gonna make an absolute piece of shit movie that's right. It's not like Velocipaster, you know what I mean, or something like that. Which again, I don't mind that movie, but it's so self-aware that it's almost like we're trying to make a cultish, schlocky horror movie. This is like they were trying to make a horror movie. Yes, it was low budget.
We should talk about Velocipaster in the future because, like, I don't know. I have thoughts about that one. I don't like.
I've never seen it.
It's worth a view. I like that one, but like that's an example of one that's like it set out or like what's Bloody Bloody Bible Camp, where it's like these are movies that set out to be almost parodies of schlocky 80s movies. This is the real goddamn deal. This is a movie where they came out to make a horror movie and it ended up like this. Which just the earnestness I appreciate. But
I got some laughs out of it. I definitely did.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that. But I feel like the only time I would ever watch this again if I was just high on shrooms.
Yeah.
That would be it. That's it.
That's why this movie exists.
High on shrooms,
100%.
and then just watch the riff tracks version instead.
That's probably true.
Yeah, for sure.
I do want to watch that. I purposefully didn't watch that. I saw it on Tubi. I think it was Tubi, but I didn't want to like find myself accidentally just regurgitating their jokes, which I probably would have done. But you know what? Maybe I'll watch it tonight, guys. Who knows?
Check it out.
The world's my oyster.
Sure.
Any final thoughts on 1987's Uninvited?
Nah, I'm good.
I'm going to go.
I never want to watch it again. That's pretty much it.
I'm good. I'm going to come harder next time. I've got a couple movies. This is just a little dipping your toes
I feel like,
into the absolute shit that could happen.
That's the assumption that you win, and now that you've done this to me, you've sealed your fate.
I am a little bit more terrified at what Steve is going to make us watch when
Steve
he wins.
is clearly capable of terrible things in this department. He knows a lot of obscure shit.
He knows so much.
So, I'm looking forward to it. I almost just want to, and listen, I'm not going to give up my belt easily. I'm obviously going for a dynasty of sorts here. But listen, if Steve wins, I'm going to be kind of excited to see what the fuck he picks.
It's already been chosen. Form of the Destructor.
I just imagine you staring into the mirror, putting like tons of lipstick on, like just repeating the name of whatever this fucking travesty is that we're going to watch. He's
manifesting his destiny here. That's what he's doing.
Oh God! All right. Well, this was a blast. I'll say one more time before we sign off, go ahead and in the next couple of days, keep an eye out on our social media. And you know what? You should probably just be following us anyway, because we're doing some fun stuff and some funny, jokey, horror-related stuff and some deep dives. And I'll post that picture of the Creep Show art that I got there. I meant to do that already, so I'll wait till this post that as well. But yeah, come check us out and vote on what our next episodes are going to be. Like I said, we're going to talk about either the game show, we're going to talk about our favorite sitcom, Halloween episodes, or we're going to talk about time travel, which all should be really, really cool. So at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on Twitter. We have Halloween is Forever podcast Facebook page, or on one of them emails, halloweenisforeverpod@gmail.com. So for the Halloween is Forever crew here, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
She waited. Bye. Bye-bye.